this is a story about something that happened back in 2015. There was an execution of a prisoner on death row, and they went to use the third in the 3-drug combo that actually carries out the death of the inmate. And they checked on the vial for that last one and found that it was the wrong vial. And according to Raw story here and the grand jury report that just came out, here's what a lawyer in the governor's office did. Governor Mary Fallon's general counsel, Steve Mullins, issued instructions stating that potassium chloride, which is the right drug, and potassium acetate, which was the drug that they had, were basically one and the same drug, before advising the Deputy Attorney General to Google it. He said then to go forth with the execution, not because they were, according to his cursory Google search, the right drug, but because he said, quote, it would look bad for the state of Oklahoma because potassium acetate had already been used in Charles Warner's execution from before. So don't go through with it because it's the same drug, even though I am not remotely qualified as a lawyer to make that call, but because we already made that mistake, so let's cover it up by going through. Since then, 3 resignations have taken place. Steve Mullins, who's the person that we mentioned, the counsel for the governor's office, as well as Anita Trammell, the warden, and Robert Patton, the head of the Department of Corrections, for failure to report. Luckily, before that execution of Richard Glossip was carried out, it was found out that this was in fact the wrong drug. So the second execution did not go through, and they did issue a stay. But it took this long to find out what exactly happened, and this is it.
Yeah, never underestimate anybody's self-interest, right? Yeah, it's my career. I don't want to impede my career even a little bit, even though this is about executing a human being. So now he said, basically one and the same drug. Like if you're saying, hey, the difference between Taco Bell and Del Taco is basically the same taco, okay, that's fair. I might not agree, but I get it, right? When you're about to execute someone and you're not sure that you've got the right drug, and if you don't have the right drug, they might be in tremendous pain and it might not work, you don't go, that's basically the same drug. But by the way, I'm not sure, so Google it. If you have to Google something to make sure that you're doing something right medically and you're not a doctor, okay, and what you're Googling about is killing somebody, right? Because that's what we're doing here. That's what an execution is. Probably not the right way to go. Probably consult with someone who's actually a doctor, knows these drugs, or a scientist, etc., and a lawyer who could make this decision and do it in the right process instead of going, oh, we're about to execute that guy, you're about to kill him? Like, just Google it. It's basically the same thing, probably.
Yeah, I can Google a lot of things that could kill someone. You know?
Yeah, now, why don't we chop their heads off? Because that's pretty, I mean, that works, right? Why don't we chop their heads off? And why do we administer these drugs behind curtains and where no one can see? So why do we do those two things? To shade ourselves from our own ugliness, right? Because we don't want to see what we're really doing. And we want to pretend like this is some kind of a medical procedure, which it isn't. It's brutal, it's gross, it's barbaric, it's killing an unarmed human being for vengeance, right? Because we know that the death penalty doesn't deter crime. It doesn't do anything except provide vengeance that we're killing someone, right? So why don't we cut their heads off like ISIS does? Well, because we're better. Right? What we do is we put it behind curtains and then we inject drugs that, I don't know, may kill them, may not, may just mess them up really bad, may cause a lot of pain, make them maybe go unconscious for 30 minutes and not be able to breathe right. And because we're barbarians. That's what this is. This is killing people. And no, by the way, it's poor people. We're killing poor people with bad legal representation. And Barry Scheck, if he's proved anything since the O.J. Simpson trial, it's that we like to kill a lot of really poor people on shitty evidence.
Yeah, look. I'm a barbarian, and I was pro-death penalty, but I switched over and I'm against the death penalty, not because I'm less barbaric, but because we were killing the wrong people. So we've proven that over and over again. Now, dozens of people who were on death row, we said, oops, we don't like to do that. The government does not like to admit it made a mistake. Like, look at this. They don't even want to admit that, oh, yeah, we used the wrong chemical to kill that last guy. He's already dead. But I don't that would hurt my career a little bit. Nonetheless, the governments of many different states and the federal government have said, yeah, we're about to execute the wrong guy. Oops. Okay, Innocence Project is right. Unfortunately, he's innocent, right? I mean, when you see that, what kind of person says, yeah, I don't mind killing the wrong person. Let's go ahead and kill. I know that a percentage, and apparently a high percentage, much higher than we expected, are innocent, but let's kill them anyway, right? And then while we're killing them, yeah, you're using the right drug, the wrong drug, it's going to cause more pain. It's behind the curtain anyway.
So if we were definitely that we had the right guy, would you be for chopping their heads off in town square?
I mean,
no.
Why is that?
here's the thing, though. At least what you said was perfect. Is like you can't have that discussion. You can't even have the argument or discussion about it if you are lying to yourselves and thinking this is not pretty much this. I mean, it's a different way of chopping someone's heads off.
That's what it is.
Like that's I very much agree with
So-
that. But for me, I'm a very vengeful person. And I would say, yeah, kill them. If they did it, kill them. And I know it's just trying to make me feel better. And I for the same reason of like, I don't want to kill the wrong person, so that would drive my decision more. But like, I would be lying to myself if I didn't say like, that person who killed that person in this way, we should kill them in the exact same way. And I don't care about being thought of as like the better person in this situation by rising above it.
The problem is Jimmy's made a little bit of a devastating point, right? So, I'm
Damn it, Jimmy.
right. No, so I'm definitely a little vengeful, and so I care a lot about justice in this day and age. That means that you're more likely to be liberal and or progressive, and because there's so much injustice against the middle class, the poor, et cetera, right? And the system's rigged. But I also don't like injustice, and that's why I briefly worked in two prosecutors' office on the personal level. Like, this guy killed that woman. That's horrible, right? And I feel like I empathize with that as if it's my family member that was killed, right? And I want to get justice for those people, right? So that's my old root of like, no, yeah, I'm for the death penalty. Yeah, you killed her, and are you telling me 100%? Okay, then off you go. And actually, I'll go as far as saying I think that if we did it enough, there definitely would be deterrence. Now you're going to say, well, then you got to kill more people. Well, if you're telling me I'm 100% certain that they're the right guys, I would say yes. But the devastating point you made is it definitely makes me uncomfortable if we're chopping their heads off. But the reality is there is no difference, right?
There's no difference.
When ISIS says, all right, should we use a saw or should we use a machete? It's basically the same thing, right? And we go, should we use potassium chloride or potassium acetate? It's basically the same difference,
And
right?
the guy who they used the wrong drug on at first said out loud as he was dying, my body's on fire.
Yes.
Like,
Jesus Christ,
you know, like,
man.
who knows? And the thing is, like, the conclusion in the things I read are like, we don't really know if he like felt that and said it or if he knew what he was saying. I think our instinct is to be like, all right, go to sleep, and while you're sleeping, we'll kill you. So that you don't watch this thing falling on your head. You don't have like nerve endings firing in your severed, cranium.
So here is one more point that I would like to make when we talk about this, is that if we're going to murder murderers, why don't we rape rapists?
You know?
Jesus Christ.
But that's
I
what
never
I'm
thought
saying.
of that either.
Like I have an instinct, and I'd be lying if I denied it, to be like, do right back to those jerks what they did.
So,
But the other reasons that you listed are the ones where it's like, there's no world in which I am 100% certain that everyone killed on death row did it. So
God damn you, Jimmy,
I
and
can't
your
give
points.
myself the satisfaction.
So here's-
look, here's the thing, right? So if someone raped someone I love,
would you rape them?
No, hold on. I'd be so angry. I'd be so unbelievably furious. Like I can almost see, in a lawless situation, I'd do anything to them. I might kill them, etc. But I wouldn't rape them, right?
Because you're not a rapist.
Yeah.
Right? You're not a rapist, because that's
Right.
a sick. You have
You're
to be
a
sick to rape
murderer.
someone. But murdering someone, which everyone thinks is worse than rape, Somehow, we're all willing to do that because somehow that's glorified. That's okay. So there's a certain kind of inhumanity that we're okay with, but there's another certain kind of, and there's another reason why too, because who's going to do, if the judge goes guilty, rape them, that'd be the shortest line in the world for that job. But there is a line for murdering people in jail, right?
Well,
That's
yeah,
weird.
Right. And I think that.
And it's all
capital
about,
punishment-
it's the same thing. Let me just interrupt you for a second, Brett. It's the same reason why we don't torture people. Not because maybe it would work and it wouldn't. It's because of what it does to us. It's because when you look into the abyss looks back into you. And it's not about what we can do in dark places where there's no one looking. That's not, we don't torture not because of ISIS, but in spite of them, but because of them. It's because of who we are. And that's what we have to show. We have to either value life or we don't value life. Either we think violence is a way to solve our problems or we don't. When the Oklahoma City bombing happened, Bill Clinton gave a speech and he said, we are going to seek the death penalty. And he didn't even realize the irony. He said, we have to seek the death penalty in this case because we have to send the message that violence is not a way to solve problems. So what? Except it is.
Yeah.
So we're giving this schizophrenic message to our culture. And so now we're embracing violence as an answer to our problems. And you see how violent our culture is now. Now we've given impunity to police, and now we've militarized our country. Whatever we do to people overseas, we're going to do it to ourselves, and we're doing it to ourselves. And so that's why you have to stop violence, and you have to at least have respect for life. That should be the basis. So we respect life. And putting someone in prison for their life is just as damaging. It is, by killing them is probably merciful, right? In a sense, right? But we don't want to kill them and we don't want to chop their head off in town square because we don't want to see the fucking horrible human beings that we are who do that.